A debate among Joplin school board members over policy language further delays the filling of a vacant seat. In Kansas, Governor Sam Brownback signs a bill making changes to school board elections.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning. Welcome to the KOAM Morning News, 5:30 on a Tuesday. I'm Dave Pilot.
And I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, former Pittsburgh State University professor learns he'll now spend time in prison. How his actions at the university landed him behind bars. That's ahead.
And the search continues for two inmates who broke out of a New York State maximum security prison as investigators try to figure out if they had help. Here's a check of our weather this morning. It is clear and calm this morning. We had a little bit of rain around yesterday morning, but no rain anywhere around a four-state area this morning. And our temperatures are a little cooler than what we saw Monday morning. It's mostly in the mid-60s this morning, 64 in Parsons, 65 in Neosho. And quiet weather will continue for the next couple of days. Sunny skies with warm temperatures, afternoon highs that are going to be a little bit above normal for this time of year. And then we are still looking at some rain chances here at the end of the week. Sunny today, light winds, a high of 90. Today, about 92 on Wednesday. Still dry for Thursday. We're looking at a slight chance of rain Friday, but it's starting to look more likely that we will be seeing some rain at times this coming weekend with showers and thunderstorms. Looking fairly likely for Saturday and Sunday, and temperatures that'll top out in the mid-80s this weekend. But nice, warm, dry, summer-like weather here for the next 2 or 3 days before the weather pattern gets a little unsettled, leading to those rain chances for the weekend.
90 degrees, that's pretty warm though.
It's a little warm for this time of year.
All right, just try to stay cool. Thanks, Dave. Debate on policy language regarding appointing new board members, delays filling a vacant seat on the Joplin School Board. With one approved vacancy and two pending resignations, the four present members of the 7-seat Joplin School Board are finding challenges in taking action. Board President Jeff Koch yesterday morning sent an email to the board secretary requesting Jim Kimbrough be appointed to the board. However, board attorney Norman Rouse made the decision not to swear in Kimbrough. Board members say the holdup revolves around unclear board policy as to whether appointment requires a majority of the quorum, which is 3 out of the 4, or a majority of the board, all 4 members in unanimous agreement.
Our policy is maybe not clear in some respects. It's specific in some areas and it's non-specific in others, so it's going back to the law and what the law says about it.
I prefer if things are going to take place that it is a full board decision.
Board members say they hope to formally accept the 2 pending resignations and take further action on filling vacancies at the next board meeting on June 23rd, or even sooner should a special board meeting be scheduled. Kansas Governor Sam Brownback signs a bill intended to raise participation in school board elections. Kansas House Bill 2104 pushes school board elections to fall on odd-numbered years. Now, up to this point, the elections had taken place in April. The Kansas Association of School Boards and more than 200 school boards across the state, including USD 250, passed resolutions opposing the bill. The bill adds roughly 7 months to the planned end of the current board members' terms before the next election, which officials fear can affect board decisions in that time.
You know, that leaves it up to somebody challenging it and saying, hey, I didn't vote to have that person represent me. They were supposed to stop at the end of April, and now you've got decisions you're making in June. Are all those decisions between April and November going to be up for legal review? So there's a lot to it.
The governor also signed a bill which gives Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach the power to prosecute election fraud cases. That's something Kobach has been seeking since he took office. Kansans could pay more at the store. Lawmakers are considering raising the state sales tax. The Kansas House is ironing out a sales tax bundle that would increase the existing state sales tax from 6.15 to 6.55%. The measure would also increase the cigarette tax by 50 cents to $1.29 a pack. The tax hike would generate $423 million the next fiscal year. But some argue it would shift a greater burden to low-income families.
Especially with us living in southeast Kansas, which is the most economically depressed region of the state, a lot of the poor families are going to be affected by those types of sales hikes.
Governor Sam Brownback says he will sign the bill into law if it passes the House. It already passed the Senate 21-17. And unlike the federal government, the clock is ticking for state lawmakers who have to pass a balanced budget. A former Pittsburgh State University professor who earlier this year pleaded guilty to charges of wire fraud and money laundering is sentenced in federal court. Michael Mugahalo will serve 18 months in federal prison for a money laundering scheme that defrauded PSU out of money for its exchange program. He's also ordered to pay the university nearly $150,000 in restitution. Authorities discovered the bodies of two men who had been missing since attending the Rocklahoma Music Festival in Pryor, Oklahoma back on May 22nd. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol says 20-year-old Cody Perrick and Ben Barar were found Sunday night inside a vehicle submerged at a boat ramp on Lake Eufaula. Troopers say they responded to a call about a submerged car around 7:40 Sunday night. The bodies have been taken to the state medical examiner's office. And a man accused of plotting a suicide bomb attack at a Wichita, Kansas airport returns to court and changes his plea. Terry Lowen had pleaded guilty in a deal with prosecutors, and now it's up to a federal judge whether to accept it. The judge presiding over the case has told Lowen he most certain will accept the plea. Lowen is accused of trying to bring a van filled with explosives onto the tarmac at what was then Wichita's Mid-Continent Airport. Tulsa County, Oklahoma commissioners choose a company to conduct a review of the sheriff's office more than 2 months after a volunteer deputy killed a man who was on the ground. The audit comes after the reserve deputy Robert Bates fatally shot Eric Harris on April 2nd. Bates has said he confused his handgun with his stun gun and has pleaded not guilty to second-degree manslaughter. Commissioners yesterday voted unanimously to select a Texas-based Community Safety Institute to perform the review. The study will cost $75,000 and will take about 5 months to complete. It's 5:37.
Here's the 7-day forecast. A warm day ahead, sunny skies, light winds, and a high temperature today of 90.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Women's World Cup underway in Canada. Team USA in action against Australia. Highlights from the big game up next in sports.
Plus new information about this past weekend's daring prison escape in New York and the manhunt for 2 convicted killers. And from talks about continuing sanctions on Russia to tackling the growing threat of climate change, President Obama meets with U.S. allies at the G7 summit.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.